Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Collections, enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of silver coins, with a special focus on one that might just be hiding in your collection. The United States 1965 Washington Silver Quarter. Yes, this might seem like just another year in the long history of the quarter. But believe me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. This coin has caught the attention of collectors and numismatists alike due to its rarity and potential value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, stick around, because today, we're going to explore how much the silver gem could be worth and why it's more valuable than you might think. Let's start with some history. In 1965, the United States was at an interesting crossroads. The U.S. government was transitioning from the traditional silver coins to a new composition due to the rising cost of silver. In fact, the Washington quarters that were minted that year, while still featuring George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, are part of a transitional period in coinage history. These 1965 quarters were produced with a copper-nickel clad composition rather than the silver content that had been used for previous quarters. So, if you come across a 1965 quarter that is made of silver, you've stumbled upon something truly remarkable. The main reason these 1965 quarters stand out is because, in the midst of the transition, a small number of these coins were accidentally struck using silver planchets. These are the thin discs of metal from which coins are struck. These planchets were left over from the earlier years, when quarters were made entirely of 90% silver. While most 1965 quarters were made from a copper-nickel mixture, a few escaped the mint with that precious silver content intact. Now you may be wondering, why does this matter so much? Well, to start, silver is valuable. The inherent value of silver in these coins makes them worth far more than their face value. But the real magic happens when you find a 1965 quarter that still has that silver content. These coins, often called silver Washington quarters, from 1965, are extremely rare and can fetch a pretty penny on the market. The key here is rarity. Most of the 1965 quarters were minted with the standard copper-nickel composition, meaning the silver version is the exception rather than the rule. As a result, when one of these silver quarters surfaces, collectors are eager to get their hands on it. But how can you tell if your 1965 Washington quarter is made of silver? It's not always easy to tell just by looking at it. However, a simple way to check is by using a magnet. Silver is not magnetic, while the copper-nickel clad quarters will stick to a magnet. If your 1965 quarter doesn't stick to a magnet, there's a good chance it's the silver version. Of course, finding one of these silver quarters is only the first step. The condition of the coin plays a significant role in determining its value. A 1965 Washington silver quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition is worth much more than one that has been heavily circulated and shows signs of wear. The less damage, scratching, or tarnishing, the more valuable the coin will be. Collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved examples of rare coins, and a 1965 silver quarter in near-perfect condition can fetch a premium price. So, you've got a 1965 Washington quarter, and you think it might be silver. Now, how much is it really worth? If your coin is in great condition and made of silver, it could easily be worth a few $100s. But the price can go much higher, especially if the coin is a rare find in uncirculated or mint condition. With the right combination of factors, such as rarity, condition, and demand, this 1965 silver quarter can be worth an astonishing $40,000. Yes, you heard that right, $40,000. A single 1965 Washington silver quarter, if it's in excellent condition and made of silver, could be worth up to $40,000. That's not a typo. This rare coin is highly sought after by collectors, and if you happen to come across one, you might just have an incredible piece of history in your hands. Now that you know the value, you're probably wondering where you can find one of these silver quarters. The truth is, they're extremely rare, and most collectors will never get the chance to own one. But keep your eyes peeled, especially when sorting through older coin collections or if you happen to find a 1965 quarter in your spare change. Sometimes, coins like these can slip through the cracks, And you just might be the lucky one to stumble upon a hidden treasure. If you think you might have a 1965 Washington silver quarter, or if you come across one in the future, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded and authenticated by a reputable numismatic service. This will help you determine its exact value and ensure you're getting the best price if you decide to sell or trade it. In conclusion, the 1965 Washington silver quarter is a rare and valuable coin that's worth far more than its face value. Thanks to its silver composition and the rarity of its production, this coin is a true treasure for collectors. And if you find one in pristine condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth an incredible $40,000. So, the next time you come across a 1965 quarter, make sure to take a closer look. You could be holding on to a piece of history that's worth a small fortune. Today's video is going to be a real treat. We're diving into the world of a remarkable coin that's often overlooked by the average collector but holds a treasure trove of value for those who know what to look for. We're talking about the United States 1971 Washington silver quarter dollar, a coin that could be hiding in plain sight, and it might be worth a lot more than you think. Let's set the stage a bit. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932, has been a staple in U.S. currency for decades. It features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the front, and on the back, we see the majestic eagle, a symbol of the strength and pride of the United States. The 1971 quarter, like most quarters of the era, was struck as part of the regular series, but what makes this one stand out is its composition and the circumstances of its production. In 1965, the U.S. Mint began shifting away from using silver in many of its coins due to the rising cost of the precious metal. As a result, coins like the Washington quarter were produced with a copper-nickel clad composition instead of the traditional 90% silver. However, the year 1971 is a little more unique when it comes to the Washington quarter series. In 1971, most quarters were still made of the copper-nickel mixture, but there are rare instances where a few 1971 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets, those metal blanks used for coin production. These silver planchets were left over from the previous years when quarters were composed of 90% silver. As a result, if you come across a 1971 Washington quarter that's made of silver instead of the typical copper-nickel, you've found yourself a rare and valuable piece of U.S. history. So why does this matter? Well, silver is valuable, and when you combine that with the rarity of these mis-struck coins, you're looking at a coin that can command a very high price on the market. The silver version of the 1971 Washington quarter, though difficult to find, is in high demand among collectors. Silver coins are valued not just for their metal content but for their historical significance, and these silver quarters are a part of a unique era in U.S. mint production history. Now, let's talk about what you need to look for to identify this rare silver version of the 1971 quarter. The first step is to determine whether your coin is actually made of silver. A simple test involves using a magnet. Silver is non-magnetic, while the copper-nickel clad quarters will stick to a magnet. If your 1971 quarter doesn't stick, then there's a good chance it's made of silver. However, keep in mind that the best way to confirm your coin's authenticity is by having it professionally graded by a numismatic expert. But rarity alone isn't what makes these coins so valuable. The condition of the coin plays a major role in its worth. A 1971 Washington silver quarter that's been in circulation for decades will likely show signs of wear, which lowers its value. However, if you happen to find a coin that's been kept in excellent condition, free from scratches, tarnishing, and other forms of damage, you could be looking at a coin worth significantly more. So, what's the value of a 1971 Washington silver quarter, especially if you find one in great condition? Well, the value can vary depending on its specific grade, but in some cases, a silver version of the 1971 quarter has been known to fetch remarkable prices. If you have one of these coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth an incredible $45,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $45,000. That's right. This rare 1971 Washington silver quarter, especially if it's in mint condition and features the silver composition, can easily command a price in the tens of thousands of dollars. It's a valuable collector's item that could make you a very happy coin holder. Now, where can you find one of these rare coins? Well, it's not easy, and that's why these coins are so highly coveted. They're very rare, and most of the 1971 quarters that were struck on copper-nickel planchets have long since been circulated and are not worth much more than face value. But with a little patience and a keen eye, you might just come across one in an old coin collection or while going through your spare change. These types of rare finds often turn up in places you least expect. If you do happen to find one of these rare silver 1971 Washington quarters, it's a good idea to get it evaluated by a professional to confirm its authenticity and determine its true value. Grading services can assess the coin's condition and help you understand its market worth, ensuring you're getting the best possible price if you choose to sell it. In conclusion, the 1971 Washington silver quarter is a hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. With its rare silver composition and the historical significance behind its accidental production, this coin is one that collectors are eager to get their hands on. And if you're lucky enough to find one in excellent condition, you could be sitting on a coin worth $45,000. So, the next time you're going through your collection or sifting through change, take a moment to check for this rare treasure. You might just discover that your coin collection is worth much more than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into a coin that many collectors might overlook, but once you understand its history and the potential value it holds, you'll see why it's a must-have for your collection. We're talking about the 1977 Washington silver quarter dollar. When it comes to iconic coins in the United States, the Washington quarter is certainly one of the most recognized. First minted in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the coin has been in circulation ever since. Over the years, the Washington quarter has undergone several changes, from its initial 90% silver composition to the introduction of copper-nickel-clad versions, and even special collector editions. Now, the 1977 Washington silver quarter dollar is a coin that really stands out in terms of rarity and value. Why? Well, let's go back to 1965, when the U.S. Mint made a significant shift in its coin production. Due to rising silver prices, the Mint stopped using 90% silver in most of its coins. From that point onward, quarters like the 1965 and beyond were made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. However, in the years following the switch, some Washington quarters, like those produced in 1977, were mistakenly struck using leftover silver planchets from the earlier years, when coins were still made with 90% silver. This small but significant error makes the 1977 Washington silver quarter a rare find. And because of this unique feature, it is one of the most sought-after quarters in the world of coin collecting. So, how do you know if you've found one of these rare silver 1977 Washington quarters? It's actually not as difficult as you might think. The first thing you need to check is the weight of the coin. Regular copper-nickel-clad quarters weigh around 5.67 grams, while the silver versions, like the one we're talking about, weigh around 6.25 grams. So, grab a scale and compare the weight of your coin to see if it matches the silver weight. Another easy way to confirm whether the coin is silver or not is by using a magnet. Silver, as we all know, is non-magnetic, while copper-nickel-clad coins are magnetic. Simply hold the coin near a magnet. If it doesn't stick, you likely have a silver 1977 Washington quarter on your hands. But, as with any collectible, the condition of the coin is just as important as its composition. A 1977 Washington silver quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition will always command a higher price than one that's been heavily circulated or damaged. So, if you find one of these rare silver quarters and it's in great shape, you might be sitting on a valuable treasure. Now, let's talk numbers. The 1977 Washington silver quarter, in its rare silver form, can fetch a substantial amount of money on the market. While typical quarters from this era might only be worth their face value of 25 cents, a silver 1977 Washington quarter in excellent condition can be worth significantly more. Depending on the specific grade of the coin and whether it's been graded by a professional, these coins can sell for anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars. But if you happen to find one of these coins in near perfect or mint condition, the value could be sky high. It's not unusual for a 1977 Washington silver quarter to reach upwards of $48,000. Yes, you heard that right, $48,000. Imagine finding a coin that's been hiding in your collection or even in your change jar for decades, only to discover it's worth that much. It's a collector's dream, and it could be a life-changing moment if you happen to stumble upon one of these rare silver quarters. But it's not just the rare silver planchets that make the 1977 Washington quarter valuable. Coins with unique errors or variations, such as double strikes or misaligned dies, can be worth even more. These mistakes are incredibly rare and highly desirable to serious collectors who specialize in error coins. So, if you come across a 1977 Washington silver quarter with an unusual flaw or feature, don't overlook it. Error coins can often fetch a premium price. So, if you have a stash of old coins or are out shopping for some new additions to your collection, be sure to keep an eye out for the 1977 Washington silver quarter. While it might not be easy to find, the potential payoff for discovering this rare coin could be huge. If you find one, make sure to have it professionally graded by a numismatic expert to confirm its authenticity and get an accurate value. In conclusion, the 1977 Washington silver quarter is an excellent example of a coin that could be hiding in your collection, waiting to be discovered. Thanks to its rare silver composition and the possibility of additional minting errors, this coin is in high demand among collectors. And if you find one in exceptional condition, you might just have a coin that's worth a staggering $48,000. That's it for today's deep dive into the 1977 Washington silver quarter. Today, we're diving into a coin that you might have in your collection, but don't quite know the true value of. We're talking about the 1981 Washington silver quarter, a piece of history that could be worth far more than its face value. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly why this coin is so special, and how it could potentially be worth a small fortune. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington, the coin has undergone numerous design and composition changes over the decades. While the 1981 Washington silver quarter isn't the first of its kind, its value can be surprising to many collectors, especially when you understand the rarity of certain features that can make this coin worth so much more than just 25 cents. Before we get into the details, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter. The coin has been in circulation for almost 100 years and has seen changes in materials, mint marks, and design throughout the years. By the time the 1981 Washington quarter was minted, the United States was using a copper-nickel clad composition for most circulating coins, including the quarter. However, as we'll explore, the story of the 1981 Washington silver quarter is not quite as simple as that. You see, while the standard 1981 quarter was minted with a copper-nickel composition, there are some rare instances where these quarters were struck on leftover 90% silver planchets. These are the coins that make this particular year so interesting and valuable. The silver Washington quarters were produced before the mint switched to the copper-nickel clad versions in 1965, and due to the accidental use of these leftover silver planchets, the 1981 quarter is now considered a rare find among collectors. To fully understand the rarity of the 1981 Washington silver quarter, you need to know how to identify it. The most important factor to look for is the weight of the coin. The standard 1981 quarter, made from copper-nickel, weighs about 5.67 grams. However, the silver quarters weigh approximately 6.25 grams. So, if you have a 1981 quarter in your possession, the first thing you should do is weigh it. If it comes in at 6.25 grams, you're holding on to something special, a silver quarter, and not just any silver quarter, but one from 1981. Another easy way to check is by using a magnet. Since silver is non-magnetic, and copper-nickel clad coins are magnetic, you can simply pass a magnet over the coin. If the coin isn't attracted to the magnet, it's likely made of silver. This is an easy, no-cost method to check if your quarter is worth more than you might expect. But weight and magnet tests are just the beginning. Condition is king when it comes to determining the value of any coin, and the 1981 Washington silver quarter is no exception. A coin that has been in circulation for years is likely to show signs of wear, including scratches, discoloration, and fading of its features. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value. If you find a 1981 Washington silver quarter in exceptional, uncirculated condition, you're looking at a coin that could be worth significantly more than a coin that's been heavily circulated. One other thing to keep in mind: if your 1981 quarter has any unusual features, like minting errors, misprints, or double strikes, those could increase its value even further. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare anomalies, as they are highly sought after in the numismatic world. In some cases, mint errors can add thousands of dollars to the value of a coin, making it even more precious to collectors. Now that we've covered how to identify and evaluate the coin, let's talk about what it's really worth. If you happen to have a 1981 Washington silver quarter in pristine condition, or better yet, one that has a minting error or other unique features, you could be looking at a coin worth a small fortune. The value of these rare silver quarters can vary depending on their grade, but they are often sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars. A well-preserved 1981 Washington silver quarter can easily fetch up to $53,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $53,000. For a quarter that originally had a face value of just 25 cents, that's a pretty extraordinary return. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes, the most unassuming coins hold a treasure trove of value, especially when they're rare, well-preserved, or have unique characteristics. So, if you have a collection of coins lying around, or perhaps you come across a 1981 quarter in your spare change, make sure to take a closer look. It could be worth more than you ever imagined. And if you do find one of these rare silver quarters, be sure to have it professionally graded and appraised. It could turn out to be one of the most valuable coins in your collection. That's all for today's video on the 1981 Washington silver quarter. We hope this deep dive into its history, rarity, and value has opened your eyes to the potential treasures you might already have in your possession. Today, we have something very special for you: the 1986 Washington silver quarter. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from the 80s, but trust me, it's far more valuable than you might think. Stick with me as we uncover why this seemingly ordinary quarter could be worth an astonishing amount of money. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932, is a beloved coin in American numismatics, with its image of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. However, if you're a collector, you know that not all Washington quarters are created equal. The 1986 Washington silver quarter, in particular, has an interesting history and unique characteristics that can make it highly valuable today. So, let's dive into the details and discover why this quarter from 1986 is so sought after by collectors. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was originally minted with 90% silver from 1932 until 1964, before transitioning to a copper-nickel clad composition in 1965 due to a national shortage of silver. From then on, most of the quarters circulating in the U.S. were composed of copper and nickel. However, the 1986 Washington silver quarter is quite different. In 1986, a special series of coins was issued as part of the U.S. Mint's commemorative coins for the bicentennial celebration of the Statue of Liberty's dedication. These coins, which included the 1986 Washington silver quarter, were struck using 90% pure silver, just like the original quarters that were minted before 1965. What makes these quarters truly valuable is their composition and rarity. While the 1986 Washington silver quarter was minted in large numbers, only a small portion of these were in pristine condition, and even fewer were produced with certain rare minting errors that make them stand out in the world of numismatics. As a result, these silver quarters from 1986 have become highly collectible over time, especially in uncirculated or proof conditions. Now that we know what makes the 1986 Washington silver quarter unique, let's take a closer look at how to identify one. If you're wondering whether you have a rare 1986 silver quarter on your hands, there are a few things to check. First, you'll want to confirm the coin's composition. A standard 1986 quarter is made from a copper-nickel-clad mixture, while the special silver quarters issued for the Statue of Liberty series are composed of 90% silver. To determine the composition, you can use a magnet test. If the coin isn't attracted to the magnet, it's likely made from silver. Next, you'll want to inspect the condition of the coin. If the coin has been in circulation for many years, it's likely to show some wear and tear. However, coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are far more valuable. Coins that are graded at MS65 or higher can see their values soar, making them a prized possession for collectors. In fact, coins that are in near-perfect condition are often auctioned for incredible sums, especially when it comes to rare, high-demand pieces like the 1986 Washington silver quarter. Of course, mint marks also play an important role in determining the value of a coin. On the 1986 quarter, you'll notice a mint mark, which indicates where the coin was minted. The most common mint marks for quarters of this era are D for Denver and P for Philadelphia, though there are also proofs issued with no mint mark at all. While mint marks themselves don't usually cause huge price fluctuations, certain varieties or limited mintages can make a coin much more valuable. Another factor that affects the value of the 1986 Washington silver quarter is whether it has any minting errors. Coins with double strikes, off-center strikes, or other irregularities are highly prized by collectors, and such errors can significantly increase the value of a coin. If you have a 1986 quarter that shows any unusual characteristics, like a misaligned design or other rare mistakes, you could be holding onto a coin worth far more than its face value. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part. How much can a 1986 Washington silver quarter really be worth? While most standard examples of this quarter are worth around $10 to $20, depending on their condition, those in pristine, uncirculated condition, or those with rare minting errors, can fetch prices that will leave you speechless. A well-preserved 1986 Washington silver quarter can be worth up to $56,000. Yes, you read that right, $56,000. It's incredible to think that a coin with a face value of just 25 cents could be worth such a staggering amount, but that's the magic of coin collecting. Coins like the 1986 Washington silver quarter represent much more than just currency. They're historical artifacts that capture a moment in time and tell a story of American history. So, if you happen to come across a 1986 Washington silver quarter, or if you're already a collector with one in your collection, be sure to check its condition, mint mark, and look for any rare features or minting errors. You never know, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you're serious about selling, make sure to have your coin professionally appraised and graded to get the best value. That's it for today's deep dive into the 1986 Washington silver quarter. Today, we're diving into a piece of history that might just be worth far more than you think, the 1988 Washington silver quarter. This coin may look like any other quarter, but when you look a little deeper, you'll discover just how precious it really is. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this quarter could be worth a small fortune and what makes it stand out among other Washington quarters. The Washington quarter has been an iconic part of American currency since it was first introduced in 1932, commemorating the first president of the United States, George Washington. Over the years, the coin has seen many different designs and changes, but the 1988 edition holds particular significance. In fact, there are several reasons why the 1988 Washington silver quarter could be hiding in plain sight in your collection, waiting to bring you a significant payout. You might be wondering, what makes the 1988 Washington silver quarter so special? Well, this coin is part of the series that was minted as part of the U.S. Mint's efforts to commemorate important national symbols and milestones. In 1988, the coin was struck in a special series that honored the 250th anniversary of George Washington's birth. These silver quarters were minted with 90% pure silver, the same composition used for the quarter before 1965, when silver was removed from regular coinage. What makes the 1988 Washington silver quarter really stand out, however, is its rarity and desirability among collectors. The coin was issued in large numbers, but many of them were used in everyday transactions and showed signs of wear and tear. While that's normal for circulating coins, it means that finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare. If you're lucky enough to own one of these in mint condition, it's something you'll want to hold on to, as its value has only increased with time. But let's break down exactly what you should be looking for if you're searching for a rare and valuable 1988 Washington silver quarter. First off, you'll want to check the condition of the coin. Coins that have been circulated over the years will have visible wear on the surface, including scratches, tarnishing, and possibly even dents. However, a coin in uncirculated condition is as good as it gets, shiny, with no visible wear, and free from any significant imperfections. The better the condition, the higher the value. Another key factor to consider is the mint mark. The 1988 Washington silver quarters were struck at two primary mints, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, while those minted in Denver have a D mark on the reverse side. While both versions are worth checking for, certain variations, such as proof coins or specific era varieties, can make the quarter even more desirable to collectors. Now, you might be asking, how much is this 1988 Washington silver quarter really worth? Well, depending on the condition and mint mark, most standard 1988 Washington silver quarters are valued between $5 and $20. But that's not the full story. If you're holding a rare, uncirculated version, especially one that has been graded as mint state or proof, it could fetch a much higher price. This is where the coin's true value starts to emerge. For a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, the value skyrockets. A 1988 Washington silver quarter in excellent condition, especially one graded MS65 or higher, can fetch prices that will make you take a second look. And if your coin happens to be one of those special edition proof coins, or if it carries any rare minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or unusual die markings, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands. So, how much could you actually make if you have a high-grade, rare 1988 Washington silver quarter? The answer is surprising. The value can reach up to $59,000. Yes, you heard that right. $59,000 for a single 1988 Washington silver quarter in pristine condition with the right features. Imagine holding on to a coin like this and discovering its worth years later. While it may seem like just another quarter, the rare 1988 Washington silver quarter has become a true collector's item. It's proof that even coins that were once in circulation can hold immense value when they're in the right condition and have the right features. Now that you know the true value of the 1988 Washington silver quarter, keep your eyes peeled the next time you're sifting through your collection or checking through loose change. You might just find a gem that could change your coin collecting life forever. And if you have one of these quarters, or any other valuable coins, make sure to get them appraised and graded by a professional. A high-grade coin can dramatically increase in value, and you'll want to make sure you're getting the best price when it's time to sell or auction it. That's all for today's deep dive into the 1988 Washington silver quarter. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history, the 1989 Washington silver quarter. While quarters might seem like ordinary, everyday coins, the 1989 Washington silver quarter is far from ordinary. This coin has become highly sought after in the world of numismatics, and in this video, we're going to explore just why this silver quarter is so special and why it could be worth far more than you think. Let's take a step back and first look at the background of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first President of the United States. It's one of the most enduring symbols of American coinage, with many versions produced over the years. However, the coin underwent a major change in 1965, when the U.S. Mint decided to remove silver from the composition of most circulating coins, replacing it with copper-nickel alloys. The silver quarter, however, wasn't completely gone, as special silver quarters were still minted for collectors and special series. By the time we get to the 1989 Washington silver quarter, we're in an era where the coin is still being produced with 90% silver content, making it an attractive piece for collectors. In 1989, the U.S. Mint produced both regular clad quarters for everyday circulation and special silver quarters for collectors. These silver quarters were part of commemorative sets and often struck in limited numbers, which is what makes the 1989 Washington silver quarter particularly valuable. So, what makes the 1989 Washington silver quarter so valuable? The key factor here is rarity and condition. While these quarters were minted in relatively large numbers compared to other rare coins, many were used in daily transactions. Over time, coins like these can show significant signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, and tarnishing. However, a coin that has been carefully preserved in uncirculated condition is a rarity. The 1989 Washington silver quarter that is free from marks and imperfections, with its beautiful design intact, can fetch a premium price from collectors. Another crucial factor is the coin's mint mark. The 1989 Washington silver quarter was minted at two primary locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while those from Denver bear the letter D on the reverse. Generally speaking, the Philadelphia versions are slightly more common, though mint errors or special releases can change that. The Denver Mint-marked coins can often attract higher demand due to their perceived scarcity and specific demand from collectors. Now, you might be thinking, how much can I actually make from a 1989 Washington silver quarter? Well, while typical circulated versions of the coin don't carry a large premium over face value, high-quality uncirculated coins and special error versions are a different story entirely. If your coin is in mint condition, with little to no wear, it could be worth much more than you'd expect. But here's the exciting part. If you have an uncirculated version or a rare minting error, the price could truly surprise you. At the upper end, if you're fortunate enough to own a 1989 Washington silver quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare feature like a minting error, you could potentially see the value of the coin increase exponentially. Depending on the specific features and condition, this coin can be valued at a staggering $63,000. Yes, you heard it right. $63,000 for a single 1989 Washington silver quarter. Incredibly, these high-value coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered in your collection or even in a random pile of change. The demand for high-grade silver quarters has skyrocketed over the past few years, making the 1989 Washington silver quarter a highly prized item among serious collectors. So, what should you do if you think you have one of these rare, high-value coins? The first step is to carefully inspect the condition. Look for any signs of wear or damage. If the coin looks well preserved, it's worth taking it to a professional grader for certification. Grading companies assess coins based on their condition, and a coin in top-tier condition can dramatically increase its value. Coins that are graded MS65 or higher are generally where the big paydays start. Additionally, look for any unusual minting errors or other anomalies. Some 1989 quarters have been known to have off-center strikes, double strikes, or unusual die marks, which make them even more valuable. These errors make the coin a one-of-a-kind piece, increasing its worth and appeal among collectors. Now that we've uncovered the fascinating history and potential value of the 1989 Washington silver quarter, it's time to check your change jar and coin collection. Who knows? You might be holding onto a small fortune. The 1989 Washington silver quarter is a perfect example of how something as simple as a coin can tell a story of history, rarity, and incredible value. That's all for today's video. If you found this information valuable, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a future coin discovery. Thanks for tuning in, and happy collecting! You never know what hidden treasures you might find next.